Cedric, I'll start with you. I just wanted to know, to talk about Goldman, how you came to be aware of this story. Is it something in France that you just were aware of already as growing up, or is it something that you had to research and look into?
Non, je connais si je comprends, j'y vais. Hein. Je connais l'histoire depuis longtemps. C'est une histoire très connue en France. Mais l'idée de faire un film sur Goldman, c'est à peu près il y a une vingtaine d'années, quand je lis son livre autobiographique et plaidoyer. Et puis voilà, l'idée chemine comme ça pendant plusieurs années.
Well, I've known the story more or less forever because it's a famous story in France, but then the idea of making a film about it is something that came up 20 years ago when I read his autobiography. That was a kind of a plea, and then I had to let it grow, the idea grow.
Because I started doing some research myself. I started to try and look for videos. There's not that much to find.
Il n'y a pas de vidéo.
No. Did that help you in some ways? Did it give you more freedom to access the role because you didn't have so much material to go off?
It helped me, yeah, because I didn't have any preconceived idea about the character. So I just had his book and Cedric's script, and we worked from there, and it was just a huge freedom. I didn't have to try to be someone that was on the pictures or on on archive images or stuff like that.
I was wondering too, because obviously lots of the dialogue is verbatim. I just wondered if that made it easier to write, because obviously with Anatomy of a Fall you had to create dialogue for a court case. I wondered if you could talk about the kind of difference in challenges between writing it based on real life transcripts and then coming up with it yourselves.
Oui, bien sûr. Enfin, c'est une base, mais après il faut la travailler. C'est plus comme la sculpture, quoi. C'est comme d'avoir une terre et qu'il faut lui donner une forme. Disons que je ne peux pas vraiment comparer le travail, mais je dirais que ce n'est pas exactement le même travail.
I can't really compare, but it's obvious that you have the first material. You have the material, and then like sculpting, you have to sculpt it, but it's different. You have a basis.
C'est surtout, je dirais, que ce qui est inspirant, c'est d'avoir des personnages réels qui ont existé et qui sont des fortes personnalités. Ça, c'est plutôt une base pour un scénario très, très intéressante. Le charisme des vrais.
What's really helpful is having actual people, existing people who have charisma, who are strong figures, and so they're inspiring for the writing.
As for me, I cannot really compare because of course, I was not involved in the film's writing, but I guess that it's a great help to have this material at first, but. We stole things for Anatomy of a Fall. We stole things from memories, from real case trials, and so it's also very exciting at first when you jump, and then when all is going in several directions, it becomes difficult to be sure of where you're going. So I guess it's a risk, but it's also a feeling of freedom that you have, I imagine.
Because in the last 12 months, I think 3 of my favourite films have been, Saint Omer, this one, of course, and Anatomy of a Fall, all French court case dramas. Do you think that's do you think there's a coincidence that they all happen to be coming out at the same time, and what do you think it is about that setting that just lends itself so perfectly to cinematic storytelling?
Donc c'est quoi?
Est-ce que c'est un hasard? Qu'est-ce qui fait qu'en ce moment il y a ça?
Ça, moi, je peux pas répondre, parce que c'est des projets de films qui ont démarré parallèlement. Donc, moi, je savais même pas qu'il y avait ces autres films qui se préparaient. Donc ça, je peux pas analyser la concomitance. Et après, la deuxième question, si c'est un décor de cinéma inspirant. Oui. Je sais pas quoi répondre. Oui, en fait, c'est pas comme ça. C'est que à partir du moment où on pose son histoire et sa fiction à un endroit, cet endroit devient inspirant parce que ça devient un lieu qu'on doit animer. En fait, c'est un défi. Moi, je dirais plutôt que c'est un défi de mise en scène très, très intéressant.
Well, for the fact that there are 3 of them at the same time, I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't know that these projects were also coming through. So that must be a coincidence. But as for the setting, I think that once that you decide the location of of your story, then the place necessarily becomes inspiring. But here it's more of a challenge, I would say. Once that you choose it and you know that you're going to be restrained to that place, then it's quite challenging in terms of directing.
Pour moi, ce qui était très intéressant, c'était d'imaginer un film où les gens parlent et ne bougent pas, sont immobiles, et quand même de pouvoir convoquer la vie. Voilà, la vie intérieure des personnages et la vie extérieure au tribunal. C'était finalement que la vie devait se produire dans l'imaginaire des gens qui parlent et dans l'imaginaire de ceux qui regardent.
What I found quite challenging and interesting here was to have this closed space with a still image, people not moving but just speaking, and through their speech and by listening to them, life had to occur, had to happen in a way. So it was how to ignite life inside this closed space just through their speeches.
A question for the actors, because I mean, obviously, nearly all of this film was shot in the courtroom. Did it feel a bit like going to court every day? Because I suppose usually on a movie set there's locations and different places to go to, but every day the same place. Did it almost play into the realism of what the real people would have done, which is to go to the same room across the course of the trial?
Well, yeah, it was a very powerful experience. You're entering that fake courtroom every day, but it's still our space in that moment. And there's 200 extras in the courtroom reacting to everything you're doing, and they're discovering it because they don't know the script. And it's a very powerful thing. There's a lot of work you don't have to do anymore because you're getting hit by those waves all the time. So it's very exciting to arrive on that set in the morning. You go, oh, what's gonna happen? And you know the script. It's very exciting.
Yes, and it's also the choice of Cedric to shoot in the order of the script, and to shoot also each time we shot a sequence, we began, it was one long, but there was always 3 cameras on set, so it was from beginning to end, the whole sequence was shot, and this felt really real in the sense that, for instance, there were scenes in which my character was not speaking for like 3 minutes, was waiting on his bench, and then at one point he would like make an intervention, and then this is really real, because in the course of a trial, it's not written in advance, that's the difference, but it's the same process of the stream of the life going in this space. So, and the fact that everybody was reacting to this realism, it was a huge help to dive into it.
It must have been amazing to have all the extras kind of naturally reacting to the... so my final question is just, what do you think is still so significant about the case of Goldman? What still makes it kind of so relevant today?
Par rapport à l'époque d'aujourd'hui? C'est une vaste question. En tout cas, la sociologie du procès est quand même très proche de la sociologie de la société actuelle française. Il y a beaucoup d'acquaintances.
Well, the social structure that you see here in the court it's very close to the one we still have in France today.
Et moi, je suis très sensible, mais ça c'est personnel, et je trouve que Goldman est très en avance pour ça, à la convergence des luttes entre les Noirs et les Juifs. Ça, je trouve que ça, c'est très... Malheureusement, d'ailleurs, c'est pas assez actuel, mais je pense que c'est très, très moderne. Et non, à la limite, je dirais même que la société a reculé par rapport à ça.
And one aspect that I think Goldman at the time was really ahead of his time is the fact that he crosses these 2 fights of the black people and the Jews. And this is something that should be the case today. People should be aware of it, but I wonder if we haven't been even back comparing to that time and Goldman's ideas.
Oui, quelque part, il est très anti-communautariste.
He's against all this communitarism.
Cool, I thought it was a wonderful film. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Merci.
Take care, bye-bye. Lovely to meet all of you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!